So now we're going to learn about how to overseed.
Overseed,
grass?
We're patching dead spots of
Okay.
the grass.
Okay. All right.
Tell ya.
So tell us, lawn educate us.
There you go. So you
Yes.
look out the window and the grass is greening up, but you've got all these spots that are not greening up. What happened? Well, the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, why is it not greening up? Did the snow sit there all winter long? Did the sprinkler miss it last summer? What is going on? So we need to find the root of the actual problem and solve that problem. Otherwise, a year from now, we're going to be reseeding again. A lot of times the sprinkler has just missed. Trees have gotten bigger. We're getting shade. Things change. The dogs are there. We've got pathways to the playground. What is going on? So we need to fix the root of the problem too, but now we need to solve the problem, which people don't understand. So we've got all the different grass mixes over here. We've got the native grasses. These are more for Morrison or when you start getting into the foothills, but these are all the native grasses. This can go completely dry once it's established, or we can water it and mow it and keep it nice and green if we want. The Colorado's Own mix, that's a special mix for the Centennial Littleton Highlands Ranch area. It's a bluegrass with a fescue that'll use less water. And of course we have the straight bluegrass. And then we also have the ones that are gonna grow in the shade. So if you have a shady area, if it's more shade than sun, really start thinking about the shady grasses. And that's the fescues that actually tolerate the shade. And of course we have my famous fescue mix, which is a 3-way fescue. It looks just like a bluegrass, but we'll use about half as much water.
So
that's what we have in our yard.
What kind of lawn we have?
Exactly. So you can bring us a sample.
Okay.
If you're in the residential area, you're probably going to have this mixture here.
Okay.
If you're up in the mountains or more Sedalia area, you're probably going to be a little bit more there. These are some of the newer mixes. This will blend in just perfectly with you.
Okay.
So you can always bring us a sample and we can identify the grass so that we can blend it all in together.
Nice.
So that makes that really easy. So the first step we have to do is we have to get some peat moss down. So peat moss is going to hold the moisture and the oxygen. So we're going to get the peat moss down over all the dry areas. Need to get about 1/4 of an inch. Now peat moss, see the color of the peat moss? It's a lighter color. And then we take our seed. Everyone always wants to put the seed down first, but you sprinkle your seed, and I can see the seed. Get it nice and thick, because this is just dry spots, dead spots. And then let's just rake it in. And of course, if you've got a big yard, that's a lot more work than you think.
Yes.
And then we have to keep it moist at all times. Once it's wet, it's going to be a much darker color. So every day you have to look out that window, and we might be watering. If it's windy and hot out, we might be watering 3-4 times a day. It's light, frequent waterings. Light, frequent, so this doesn't wash away. If you do heavy watering, it's all going to be down over there where it's already green. We want to keep it up over here. We got to keep it wet at all times, and it'll sprout. The bluegrasses sprout in about 3 weeks, but the fescues sprout in about 7 days.
Oh.
So we have to keep it wet, light, frequent waterings, and then we'll slowly wean it off. We'll water longer periods of time, less frequently. And then pretty soon it'll just blend right in. But we got to keep it wet, and you have to do the peat moss. It doesn't do any good to just throw the grass seed. We're in a high plains desert. We're considered a semi-arid climate. So the reason we use the peat moss is to keep that moisture. That grass can sprout and send out a tiny little root and a tiny little top. While you're at work and the sun comes out, it could die if it didn't get any water. It's that fast. Sprout in the morning, be dead by noon. You come home and water in the evening, it's too late. It's a newborn baby, just like a newborn baby. We have to take care of it. It's that fast. So that first month is very critical. We got to keep it wet.
So I have to stay home.
You have to stay home. There you go. But we cannot just take the seed and just throw it on bare ground. It'll never sprout. It's not holding the moisture. So
And
we've
this
got to
is the
give it,
same-
this is like its little baby bunting. Got to keep it in its baby bunting, it'll be fine.
And this is the same peat moss that you told me that I need to put in when I aerate. I'm going to put a bag of this, rake it all over my lawn. Okay.
Yep, we're preparing the soil. It's the same peat moss we're using in the vegetable garden because it holds the moisture. It's impossible for a root to take up any nutrients or water without oxygen. And if we don't have oxygen in the soil, we don't have plant growth. It's that simple. And we have a very heavy compacted soil, clay particles. Clay particles are very, very small. There's no room for oxygen. Other parts of the country don't have to do this. Portland, Oregon, they can just throw their seed. You know, they do a machete thing to get rid of the plants. So, yeah, and you know, ours is a little bit harder. So we have to work at ours. So it's a
Okay.
whole different thing. So the peat moss and the seed, and we've got the steps here. So it's just the peat moss, it's the seed, we rake it in, and then we keep it very moist. And it's a much darker color when it's wet. So everyone needs to get involved. It's a newborn baby. First person home waters, last person to leave waters. Keep it moist at all times, and you'll be fine.